All right, let's go. Number 10, the Methuselah star. In the early 20th century, astronomers began cataloging a high-velocity star situated about 190 light-years away from Earth, rushing rapidly across our night sky in the constellation Libra. Officially designated HD 140283, this star seemed like just another ancient wanderer of the Milky Way. But when scientists used the Hubble Space Telescope to precisely measure its distance and luminosity, they were able to calculate its age with unprecedented accuracy. The results they received sent a shockwave through the astrophysics community. The calculations indicated that the star was roughly 16 billion years old. This number presents a massive, fundamental problem for our understanding of reality. According to the most precise measurements of the cosmic microwave background radiation, the universe itself is only 13.8 billion years old. The Methuselah star, as it came to be known, appears to be over 2 billion years older than the Big Bang. It is a cosmic impossibility, a remnant of an era that theoretically should not exist. Naturally, scientists immediately searched for natural explanations, assuming an error in their data. They recalculated the star's distance. They factored in stellar evolution models, oxygen to iron ratios, and the exact rate at which a metal-poor star burns through its hydrogen fuel. By pushing every single margin of error to its absolute maximum limit, they managed to bring the star's age down to 14.2 billion years. But even with this aggressive mathematical adjustment, the star remains older than the universe itself. The implications are profoundly unsettling. If the measurements are correct, it means our foundational model of cosmology is deeply flawed. Perhaps the universe is significantly older than we believe, meaning our understanding of cosmic expansion and dark energy is entirely incorrect. Or, far more disturbingly, some theoretical physicists have quietly suggested that the Methuselah star might be a surviving remnant from a previous iteration of the universe. In models of a cyclic cosmos, where the universe expands, collapses in a big crunch, and then rebounds in a new Big Bang, it is mathematically possible for certain primordial structures to survive the transition. We might be looking at a star that was born in a dead universe, an artifact that somehow weathered the apocalyptic rebirth of reality, shining down on us from a time before time began. Number 9. The Red Square Nebula. In 2007, astronomers using the immense power of the Hale telescope and the Keck Observatory in Hawaii pointed their instruments toward a dying star known as MWC 922, located in the constellation Serpens. When the images were processed, the researchers were confronted with something that looked less like a natural cosmic phenomenon and more like a rendering error in the fabric of space. Surrounding the star was a massive cloud of gas and dust, forming a perfect, highly symmetrical square, complete with razor-sharp 90-degree angles. In the vacuum of space, physics dictates how matter behaves. When a star expels its outer layers, the gas expands outward equally in all directions, forming a sphere. Sometimes, magnetic fields or companion stars can twist these ejections into hourglass shapes or chaotic swirling clouds, but nature does not build perfect right angles. The chaotic forces of stellar winds, radiation pressure, and gravity do not naturally conspire to draw a perfect square of glowing plasma spanning trillions of miles across the interstellar void. To explain this geometric impossibility, mainstream astronomers propose that we are actually looking at two cone-shaped clouds of gas erupting from the star's poles. According to this theory, the square shape is merely an optical illusion caused by our exact viewing angle. For this to be true, the cones must have an incredibly precise opening angle, and Earth must be positioned at the exact perfect degree to view the intersecting edges as a flat square. But even this explanation struggles to account for the perfectly spaced, comb-like rungs of material extending outward along the nebula's edges, which mirror each other with algorithmic precision. What makes the Red Square Nebula so disturbing is how artificial it appears. It resembles a fractal pattern generated by a computer, a rigid mathematical structure imposed on the chaos of a dying star. If the optical illusion theory is correct, It represents a statistical coincidence of astronomical proportions. But if we are truly looking at a geometric structure in space, it forces us to wonder what invisible, highly structured forces are capable of corralling volatile stellar plasma into perfect Euclidean geometry. It feels less like observing nature and more like catching a glimpse of the underlying mathematical grid that dictates our reality. Number 8. The dipole repeller. For decades, astronomers have known that our Milky Way galaxy, along with our neighboring galaxies, is hurtling through space at a staggering speed of over 1.3 million miles per hour. We always knew what was pulling us, an immense concentration of mass known as the Great Attractor, hidden behind the dusty core of our own galaxy. But in 2017, a team mapping the complex flows of galaxies across the cosmos discovered that the Great Attractor was only half the story. While we are being pulled towards something massive, we are also being pushed away from something completely invisible. They named it the dipole repeller. It is an immense, incredibly empty region of space located directly opposite the Great Attractor. And it is exerting a repulsive force so powerful that it is literally driving our entire galactic neighborhood across the universe. This discovery fundamentally breaks our intuitive understanding of how gravity works. Gravity is an attractive force. Mass pulls on mass. A void, by its very definition, is an absence of mass. It should not be capable of exerting a pushing force. It can only fail to pull. Scientists attempt to explain this by describing it as a relative underdensity. They argue that because the void has less mass than the surrounding regions, the higher density areas naturally draw matter away from it, creating the illusion of a repulsive push. But the sheer velocity generated by the dipole repeller defies simple models. The mathematics suggest an active, pushing force is at work, one that repels matter with the same intensity that a supercluster attracts it. The implications force us to confront the darkest mysteries of our universe. Is the dipole repeller merely an empty space, or is it a concentrated pocket of pure dark energy, the mysterious force causing the universe to accelerate its expansion? If dark energy can pool into dense, repulsive regions, then space is not a passive vacuum, but an active, hostile environment capable of sweeping galaxies away like dust in a hurricane. Or, more chillingly, what if we are observing the aftermath of something deliberately clearing out space? A region swept completely clean of matter, generating a repulsive boundary to keep galaxies out of a sterile, silent zone measuring millions of light years across. We are fleeing from a void, and we have no true understanding of what is hiding inside the emptiness. Number 7. The Impossible Planet. In 2015, a team of South Korean astronomers discovered a Jupiter-sized planet orbiting a red giant star designated 8 Ursae Minoris, located about 520 light-years away from Earth. They named the planet Hala. On paper, it was a standard exoplanet discovery, but when astrophysicists analyzed the star's evolutionary timeline, they realized they were looking at a ghost. Hala is a planet that, according to the inviolable laws of stellar physics, should not exist. Stars like 8 Ursae Minoris undergo a violent transformation as they age. When they exhaust their core hydrogen, they expand massively into red giants, swallowing any planets orbiting too closely. Our own sun will eventually do this, expanding past the orbit of Earth and incinerating our world. Observations confirmed that Hala's host star had indeed gone through its red giant phase. It had expanded well past the orbital distance of Hala before shrinking back down to its current size. Hala was sitting directly inside the kill zone. It should have been engulfed, subjected to thousands of degrees of heat, and stripped apart by the star's gravitational friction until it was entirely vaporized. Yet, there it is. A massive gas giant, orbiting peacefully as if the apocalypse never happened. Scientists desperately tried to find a natural explanation to save our models of orbital mechanics. The leading hypothesis suggests that the star was originally a binary system. As the primary star expanded to swallow the planet, it instead swallowed its smaller companion star. This violent merger supposedly interrupted the expansion phase, halting the star's growth just short of Hala's orbit. But this explanation requires an almost miraculous coincidence. The timing, the mass of the companion star, and the orbital dynamics would have to be perfectly, infinitesimally precise to save the planet at the last possible second. What makes Hala so unsettling is its defiant existence in the face of cosmic annihilation. It is a survivor of an event that leaves no survivors. Does planetary architecture possess unknown stabilizing mechanisms that protect worlds from stellar expansion? Or did something, or some process we cannot yet fathom, intervene to anchor this specific world against the consuming fire of its dying sun? Hala continues to orbit, a silent anomaly proving that the universe does not always obey the rules we have written for it. Number 6. Hoag's object. In 1950, astronomer Arthur Hoag was scanning the sky when he spotted an object so perfectly structured he initially thought he was looking at an optical illusion or a planetary nebula. But subsequent spectroscopic analysis revealed it was an entire galaxy, located roughly 600 million light-years away in the constellation Serpens. Hoag's object, as it came to be known, defies every conventional model of how galaxies form and evolve. Galaxies typically fall into recognized categories. We have swirling spirals like our Milky Way, featureless ellipticals, or chaotic irregulars shaped by violent collisions. Hoag's object is none of these. It consists of a perfectly spherical, glowing yellow core made of ancient stars. Surrounding this core is a massive, completely transparent gap of empty space spanning 70,000 light-years. And outside that gap lies a perfect, razor-sharp ring of brilliant young blue stars. It looks like a glowing wheel suspended in the dark. Usually, ring galaxies are formed by catastrophic cosmic hit-and-run accidents, where a smaller galaxy plunges directly through the center of a larger one, creating a gravitational ripple that pushes star formation outward. But Hoag's object shows absolutely no evidence of a collision. There is no debris field, no shattered galactic fragments, no distorted gas trails. The core and the ring are perfectly symmetrical, rotating smoothly as if they were manufactured rather than formed by cosmic violence. But the most disturbing detail of Hoag's object is found in the dark, empty gap between the core and the ring. If you look closely into that black space, billions of light-years further in the background, you can see another galaxy. And this background galaxy has the exact same structure: a yellow core, an empty gap, and a perfect blue ring. The statistical probability of a perfect, unexplained ring galaxy aligning flawlessly with another identical ring galaxy behind it is functionally zero. It is an astronomical impossibility. When scientists look at Hoag's object, they do not just see a mystery of galaxy formation. They see something that feels deeply artificial. It evokes the unsettling sensation of a copied and pasted asset in a digital environment, a glitch in the cosmic architecture where a highly unnatural pattern simply repeats itself in the background of reality. Number 5. The Galactic Center Radio Transient. In 2002, astronomers pointing radio telescopes toward the chaotic, dust-choked center of the Milky Way detected something that behaved unlike anything ever recorded in the history of astronomy. Designated GCRTJ 1745-3009, the source emitted a burst of low-frequency radio waves that lasted for exactly 10 minutes. Then it went completely silent. Exactly 77 minutes later, it emitted another 10-minute burst of identical intensity. It repeated this exact sequence 5 times, 10 minutes on, 77 minutes off. And then it vanished entirely, never to be heard from again. The universe is full of objects that emit repeating radio pulses. Pulsars, which are rapidly spinning neutron stars, act like cosmic lighthouses, sweeping beams of radiation across Earth. But pulsars spin incredibly fast, emitting pulses measured in seconds or milliseconds, and they do so continuously for millions of years. This object was slow, incredibly powerful, and most importantly, temporary. A rotating dead star does not behave like a precision stopwatch, broadcast 5 perfectly identical signals, and then abruptly cease existing. Astronomers scrambled for a natural explanation. Some proposed it was a highly magnetized white dwarf. Others suggested a brown dwarf star undergoing a bizarre magnetic flare. But none of these theories can adequately explain the flawless, metronomic timing of the bursts, nor why the emissions shut off completely after exactly 5 cycles. Natural astrophysical processes are messy. They fade, they stutter, they display chaotic decay. They do not execute a rigid, mathematically precise broadcast schedule and then power down permanently. The behavior of this radio transient is deeply unsettling because it perfectly mimics the profile of an artificial beacon. Imagine a deep space probe or an automated navigational buoy that suffered a catastrophic failure. Running on emergency power, it broadcasts a high-energy distress signal on a precise automated loop. 10 minutes of transmission, followed by 77 minutes of charging its depleted capacitors. It manages 5 broadcasts before the containment fails or the energy runs out completely, plunging it into eternal silence. We have absolutely no proof that this signal was artificial, but we also have no natural phenomenon in the entire lexicon of astrophysics that explains what whispered from the dark center of our galaxy in 2002. Number 4. The Cosmic Giant Arc. In 2021, astronomer Alexia Lopez presented a discovery at the American Astronomical Society that threatened to upend a century of foundational cosmology. While mapping the positions of distant galaxies using the light from quasars, she identified an impossibly massive structure located about 9.2 billion light-years away. It is a nearly perfect, symmetrical crescent of galaxies known as the Giant Arc, and it spans an incomprehensible 3.3 billion light-years of space. To understand why this is terrifying, you must understand the cosmological principle. This is the bedrock assumption of modern physics, which states that on a large enough scale, the universe must be homogeneous and isotropic. Essentially, if you zoom out far enough, matter should be spread out like a smooth, even mist. According to our absolute best mathematical models of gravity and cosmic expansion, the theoretical size limit for any single structure in the universe is about 1.2 billion light-years. Anything larger simply has not had enough time since the Big Bang to be pulled together by gravity. The Giant Arc is nearly 3 times that theoretical limit. And it is not alone. Just 2 years later, the same researcher discovered the Big Ring, another perfectly geometric structure of galaxies nearby, spanning 1.3 billion light-years. Scientists have frantically tried to dismiss these structures as statistical anomalies, random alignments of galaxies that only appear connected from our specific vantage point. But rigorous statistical tests show that the probability of the Giant Arc forming by pure chance is less than 0.0003%. If these structures are real physical groupings, which the data heavily suggests, then gravity did not build them. The universe is simply not old enough for gravity to have organized matter on a scale of 3.3 billion light-years. This leaves cosmologists with an existential nightmare. If the fundamental forces we understand cannot build structures this large, what did? The Giant Arc suggests the existence of underlying cosmic scaffolding, massive invisible frameworks dictating the position of galaxies across billions of light-years. It implies that our current understanding of physics is not universal, but merely a set of local rules operating inside a much larger, highly organized system whose true architects or organizing principles remain completely hidden from us. Number 3. The KBC Void. In 2013, astronomers Ryan Keenan, Amy Barger, and Lennox Cowie published a comprehensive map of our local universe, tracking the density of galaxies surrounding the Milky Way. What they found forces humanity to reconsider its place in the cosmos. Our entire galaxy, our local group, and our surrounding superclusters are all sitting dead center inside an unimaginably vast spherical region of emptiness. Known as the KBC Void, it spans a staggering 2 billion light-years across, making it the largest void ever discovered. We're living inside a cosmic desert. The density of matter inside this massive bubble is roughly 20% lower than the average density of the universe outside of it. This isn't just an interesting geographical quirk. It fundamentally breaks our understanding of cosmic expansion. For decades, astronomers have argued over the Hubble constant, the exact rate at which the universe is expanding. Different measurement techniques keep giving widely different results, creating what physicists call the crisis in cosmology. The existence of the KBC void provides a terrifying explanation for this crisis. Because we are sitting inside a massive, empty bubble, the gravitational pull of the denser universe outside the void is pulling matter away from us faster than standard expansion would predict. We are looking out at the universe through a distorted lens of emptiness, meaning our calculations about the age, expansion, and fate of the entire cosmos are biased by our isolated location. But the most unsettling aspect of the KBC void is our precise position within it. Voids are common in the honeycomb structure of the universe, but finding a galaxy as massive and active as the Milky Way, sitting relatively close to the dead center of the largest void ever measured, is statistically bizarre. Why are we quarantined? In a universe where galaxies clump together in massive, glowing filaments and violent clusters, we exist in a strangely serene, isolated bubble of nothingness. It evokes the uncomfortable feeling of an organism placed deliberately in a sterile petri dish, far removed from the chaotic, matter-dense environments where true cosmic evolution is taking place. We are looking at a universe teeming with activity, but we are watching it from the safety of an inexplicable 2 billion light-year quarantine zone. Number 2. Przybylski's star. In 1961, astronomer Antony Przybylski was analyzing the light spectrum of a peculiar star located 350 light-years away in the constellation Centaurus. When he looked at the chemical absorption lines, the unique barcodes that tell us what a star is made of, he found something that openly defied the laws of nuclear physics. Officially named HD 101065, Przybylski's star is a chemical impossibility that continues to baffle astronomers more than 60 years later. A normal star spectrum is dominated by elements like hydrogen, helium, and a predictable mix of heavier metals like iron and nickel. Przybylski's star is almost entirely missing these common metals. Instead, its atmosphere is heavily polluted with extremely rare earth elements like strontium, holmium, and neodymium. But that is not the terrifying part. The dark secret of this star lies in its radioactive signature. Astronomers have identified short-lived, highly radioactive isotopes in its atmosphere, including promethium, actinium, and einsteinium. In nature, these elements are incredibly unstable. They decay rapidly, breaking down into other elements. Promethium, for example, has a maximum half-life of less than 18 years. Einsteinium isotopes survive for mere days or months. In cosmic terms, where stellar ages are measured in billions of years, 18 years is an eye blink. For us to detect these radioactive elements in the star's atmosphere today, they cannot be ancient remnants. They must be actively and continuously replenished right now. But there is no known natural stellar process capable of continuously forging heavy, unstable radioactive elements in these specific quantities. The physics simply do not work. Mainstream astronomers propose exotic theories involving unseen neutron star companions or hyperactive magnetic fields acting as particle accelerators, but none adequately explain the exact chemical cocktail observed. This has led some scientists to quietly discuss a far more disturbing hypothesis, the nuclear waste theory. If an advanced extraterrestrial civilization utilizes massive antimatter or exotic fusion reactors, they would inevitably produce highly toxic, radioactive byproducts. What do you do with interstellar nuclear waste? You dump it into a nearby star, using the intense heat and gravity as a cosmic incinerator. When we look at Przybylski's star, we might not be looking at a natural astrophysical anomaly. We might be looking at an active interstellar landfill, glowing with the fresh radioactive exhaust of a civilization we cannot see. Number 1. The Hercules Corona Borealis Great Wall. In 2013, a team of international astronomers was tracking the distribution of gamma-ray bursts across the deepest reaches of space. Gamma-ray bursts are the most violent explosions in the universe, often marking the death of massive stars, making them excellent markers for mapping where massive galaxies cluster together. What the team mapped in the distant universe fundamentally shatters our comprehension of reality. They found a cohesive structure of galaxies stretching across the constellations of Hercules and Corona Borealis. It is known as the Great Wall, and it measures 10 billion light-years across. To put that scale into perspective, the entire observable universe, from edge to edge, is estimated to be 93 billion light-years in diameter. This single continuous structure spans more than 10% of everything we can possibly see. It is so vast that light itself, the fastest thing in the universe, takes 10 billion years to travel from one side of the Great Wall to the other. According to every known law of physics, cosmology, and time, this structure cannot exist. Our universe is 13.8 billion years old. Gravity, the force that pulls galaxies together to form walls and clusters, operates at the speed of light. The mathematics are brutal and absolute. 13.8 billion years is simply not enough time for gravity to have organized that much matter across a 10 billion light-year distance. It would require tens of billions of years of additional time the universe simply has not had, to construct a framework of this magnitude. Scientists have furiously tried to debunk the Great Wall, arguing that it must be a statistical illusion, a trick of the data caused by uneven sampling of gamma-ray bursts. But subsequent analyses continue to support the structure's existence. The implications are existentially horrifying. If the universe is not old enough to have built the Great Wall, then how is it there? Did the structure exist before the Big Bang, surviving the creation of our universe? Or are the fundamental laws of physics merely local suggestions, breaking down completely when we look at the true scale of the cosmos? The Great Wall forces us to confront the terrifying reality that human science is trapped inside a microscopic bubble of ignorance. We are trying to understand an ocean by examining a single drop of water, completely unaware of the incomprehensible leviathans moving through the deep, defying the very laws we thought governed existence. I'll be sharing more similar videos in the future, so subscribe to stay tuned.